Join UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of the program, Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning, from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Today's program, we have Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show. Then we'll have Edgar Thompson from the Orlando Sentinel. He was at Neyland Stadium, get his thoughts and reactions on the game, and figure out if we're going to play a game this week or not. I'm not real positive there will be a game. If you missed it last night, Cowboys beat the Giants. And I want to give a shout out to the Daytona Quarterback Club. I was there last night. It's a tremendous group, and had a good time with those fellas over there in Daytona. So let's go to the Titan Memorial Hotline. We're joined by the man, the myth, the legend, Buddy Martin. Good morning, Buddy. How are you?
Good morning, Shane. I'm dry. I'm safe right now, and I hope everybody there is. And yeah, those Daytona people are really good people. I've been there several times. And I'm sure you had a good time. They all enjoy you. And by the way, you were also at Neyland. So don't forget that. And I want to say before we even start, shout out to you for calling the shot. You said all week long, Anthony's got to run the football. And when you said quarterback power, I laughed at you. I said, what?
Well, the quarterback power he ran didn't work.
No, but he scored on the sweep. So, but he's outside the time.
The other sweep.
Yeah.
If he would have followed his blockers and went on the fumble, that was his worst play of the game. But yeah, we played well offensively. He threw completions. I said yesterday, Buddy, on my show, I could not believe how Tennessee defended us. If you could take Tennessee's offense and Kentucky's defense, put them together, you may have a chance to beat Georgia or Alabama, but neither one of them have a chance.
Yeah,
they just don't. One side of their ball is just way too weak. And as we know, Gators struggle on defense as well. But they played hard. And I can't tell you how many people, and maybe on your show too, Buddy, and I'm going to talk to Edgar about it, about people upset with Billy Napier's decisions.
No.
I try to tell these people, I'm like, look, Billy knows his team better than any of us. And if you watch us play, especially Saturday, we had no chance in the world to stop them ever.
None. Keep the ball away. Keep the ball away from Hooker. Don't give it back to him.
Well, I'm talking about the fourth down.
I'm talking about him too. You didn't read or hear what I've been saying the last 48 hours, 72 hours, obviously, and I understand. But number one, excuse me for interrupting you on your show, but back to your point, you said Anthony has to run the ball 17 times. 17 times.
That's how many times he ran on Saturday?
Yeah, he carried the ball rushing 17 times, okay?
Yeah, but I would probably only say 5 of those were
whatever you say. The point is you said it. And the other thing is, Shane, you're a competitor. I was a small-time competitor, but I want to know when I go into a game like that, my coaches say, we're pulling out all stops. We're going to make this. We're going to go for it, And the scared money don't make money thing was just a motto until he pulled out his game.
I got it right here.
6 times he went for it. 5 he made it. I think that's tremendous if he made it 3 times. I talked to your old coach yesterday about a decision to go for 2 and decision to go for 4th down. He said, I wish I'd have gone for it more. That's what he said. So here's the point people are missing. If you've never competed, either if it's the highest level like Shane, 14 years in the NFL, or me, high school quarterback, I want my coach to back me. I want to give me a chance to win. I want you to say, we're going to be aggressive and then back it up. He backed it up, and that mindset, just the mindset, we're going for it, to me, was what made that game so special. He found a quarterback, and he found his team, and they found their place. I was really impressed. I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, we had to do what we had to do, or we were going to get run out of the building. Andy says here on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, I didn't agree with the 2-point conversion until Billy explained it. Analytics said you don't go for the tie, you go for the win. That's what people are going to have to understand. Us old timers, they used to have and they still do. I mean, you don't even need a chart to know when to do math, right?
Yeah.
But now he was showing it to me on their phone on the bus ride back to the plane after the game that stated that by the new analytics, it showed you the percentage of you having a better chance of winning the game if you go for two in this situation. So I don't know. I'm gonna have Edgar on. I'm saying, Edgar, this would be a great homework assignment or a story for you to write or somebody to write it about the new analytics because I know Gator fans were upset with it, going to continue getting upset with it on down the road. But let me tell you something. Our basketball coach is more analytical than our football coach, so you're going to have problems with that as well.
Yeah.
But he's trying to win the damn game. That's what I try to tell people.
That is exactly the point. That is exactly. And by the way, I think did you see the video yet? The latest one they put out called they call it the Run to the Fight.
No.
Watch that video. It's 4 minutes. Florida put it out, and it will explain to you the mentality of being aggressive, and as you said, trying to win the damn game. And he told his team before the game, run to the fight. He told his team at halftime, keep running to the fight. And as always said, you ran to the fight. Two things real quick, and I get real passionate about this because I think you got to get off this kick and look at to find a new term besides moral victory. All right. I'm the old guy. I was arguing with Doring last night about this. And I think it's a new way of thinking. You got to say, look, what did you see? I saw a team with a fighting chance. Shane, throwing the ball into the end zone at the end of the game, trying to win the game. That to me is what I want to see. And I think it's important. So whatever you want to call it, maybe you don't call it moral victory. Maybe you call it something else. To me, that's what I want to see.
Well, we competed, and that's the biggest thing. You're not going to win every game, regardless of how you play. But we showed a lot of fight, which was, I'm not a moral victory guy. I just like the way we competed, and we didn't give up. I mean, when the game we were down 7. Think about this: we were down 17 points. I think it was under 3 minutes left in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee tries to ice the game.
Yeah,
they have like a 4th and 3.
No,
Hendon Hooker rolls out. Tries to throw a little across his body back to the wide open tight end. He probably would have scored if he catches it. The throw was off just a little bit. They turn the ball over in downs. We drive down, score, and make it interesting.
I'll say.
So my point is, we could have just folded, but we didn't, and it's something to build on. I mean, I don't know how many games this team's going to win. We are not. What did I tell you all summer, buddy?
I don't know. You told me a lot of things. You told me that the Panthers.
What did I tell you the worst part of this football team was?
Well, of course, it's the front seven. We know that.
Yes.
But this was
it's bad.
Well, but the thing about it was one guy who broke down really bad, and he made two. It looked like there were nobody other players on the field, and he didn't do it once; he did it twice. I don't need to tell people who it was. I hated it for the kid, but the film doesn't lie. He completely busted two big assignments. You can't have big guys running free and with their own half the field like that. You just can't have it. And that was. And by the way, if that had been our old defensive guard Grantham, they'd have been stoning him with golf balls. Gator fans in Tennessee.
Yeah, there's a common denominator between Patrick Toney and Todd Grantham. Okay, one common denominator is they're both very good defensive coordinators.
Yeah, I think so too.
The highest praise that I've heard from Patrick Toney was I said it on Steve Russell's show the other day. I saw Will Muschamp this spring. He was in town recruiting, and we talked for about an hour. And he goes, "Y'all got the real deal on defense. The guy knows defense."
Really?
Okay.
That's
so,
yeah.
And that's coming from a dude that really knows defense.
He does know defense.
So,
yeah.
But the common denominator is it's pretty much the same players. Okay. We got a Facebook Live here, and I don't like to talk about the players, but it is. Seth says, brought to you by Mellon Law. Why are we giving so much cushion, especially in the slot? Does not appear to be any third quarter adjustments. We played well in the third quarter of this game. You cannot bump you cannot it's over. It is over. You have to play off because they are so explosive. Because if you don't get home, I mean, it's just a press. As soon as you press and a guy meets you at the line, nobody's going to press Tennessee. Nobody. Not even Alabama's guys. And he says, oh, this is the other day, or I already had this. And he says, why didn't Jalen Wright get penalized on Tennessee's last touchdown after scoring? He did a gator chomp, which is a fine. Yeah, it is a fine. But then he did a throat slash. Isn't that taunt? Yeah, I saw that as well. It should have been a penalty, but they didn't call it. It doesn't happen very
Worse
often.
than that was the roughing the passer they didn't call. They knocked Anthony's helmet off. There were a couple of really bad.
But didn't his helmet come off once he hit the ground?
I don't know, but it looked to me like it was a late hit. Regardless, it was a late hit, and I mean, look, we can always blame the officials. But when you have a guy whose half his body is in the end zone with the ball, you need replay for that. No wonder Billy got mad when they delayed the game to cover a mistake they made. He's out there whining his arms, saying, let the clock run. I don't blame him. And I'm glad he did get after the officials. I like that.
All right, we got a bunch of texts here on the Titan Mark text line. This is Josh over in Mississippi. He says, Shane, why are we continue giving Dean playing time after he continues to show he won't execute the play? Isn't it time for Kamari to get time? Kamari did play quite a bit in this game, by the way. At least if he is making mistakes, he will actually learn as a contributor for the next 3 years. Thoughts? I think you'll see more of him. You saw he actually played a lot in this game. Josh also asked, I'm bringing my 7-year-old Jackson to the Eastern Washington game this weekend.
Good luck.
I want to know if he could get a picture. Well, there probably ain't going to be a game. I'll be in the student union doing a pregame show, Josh, if there is a game. Speaking of that, buddy, do you think we play?
Do what now?
Do you think there's a game Saturday?
Right now, I'd say 50-50.
50-50. Go out on a limb.
Well, what are you going to do? You can't. If you were trying to listen, I've lived in cold uncertainty my entire life. I've seen these storms. I've been in them. I was through a couple of them. I can tell you much. You think picking football is tough? Try predicting the cold uncertainty. This is what I know to know. I'm preparing for it. But I think right now, if I had to make a bet, is that what you're asking me? I'd say no game.
No. All right. So we got another text here from Dave. He says, Shane, liking your show more and more every week. What I learned between weeks 3 and 4, Coach Billy Napier can coach. He took a struggling young QB in a horrid tailspin and retooled him for the most challenging moment of his college career, and his protege showed immeasurable resiliency. I know I'm being dramatic here, but am I wrong? Gators will beat LSU, A&M, and FSU to cap off a 9-3 season. Only thing standing in the way if the defense regresses at all, 7-5. Well, you're being optimistic. LSU and A&M and Florida State are probably coin flip games. 2 of those are on the road. I don't know. I still think it's around a 7-win team, quite honestly. But anything can happen. Anything can happen.
Well, I see for sure 1 loss and probably 2, and maybe 3. But let's see how good FSU is going to be too. That's not a mail-it-in game now anymore either. I hate hearing the FSU people say we get the best team in the state, but it's true in terms of record. Let me not forget. Let's not forget they played the toughest schedule in America in September. They split 2-2.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. No question about that. Another text here from Chris on the Titan Mar text line. He says, Shane, why don't they move the game back to Sunday or move it to Washington so they can play? Well, we're not going to go to Washington.
No.
Sunday is a possibility. I did hear that yesterday.
Really? I'd be surprised.
Why? It's supposed to be sunny on Sunday.
I don't think
here's the issue. Here's the issue when you have hurricanes. It's not so much what's going on in Gainesville from a weather standpoint. It's all the medical.
Right.
And
it's the support staff. They don't have them. They're not available. They're not available.
They come from other areas every Saturday, and they'll be busy doing their thing. So we'll see. We'll probably get an update sometime this afternoon. Are you in the market to buy or sell your home? Doreen Weeby, a realtor with Caldwell Banker M.M. Parrish, will provide you with fast, friendly, reliable service. Call her today at 352-562-1411 to help your dreams come true. Speaking with Buddy Martin here on the Titan Tomorrow Hotline, we'll have Edgar Thompson. They need to play this game, buddy. I know it sounds terrible.
They do.
We need the game. We got to have this game.
Need reps for sure.
Yeah. So I if they have to move it to Sunday night,
I'm okay with it. I don't think ESPN would do it, but we'll see.
Well, nobody's gonna be able to watch it on ESPN anyway. It's on ESPN Plus.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, it's not on ESPN.
Oh, not on the SEC network?
Mm-mm.
You know what? I'm so sick of this. And I'm not going to get in my soapbox. I just saw a piece over the weekend about all these networks and streamings. People are going crazy trying to find the right app to get it, trying to get the right passwords, trying to get on. I mean, it's a nightmare. They're trying to find the damn games anymore, you know? Just turn on the TV. Tell me what I owe and turn on the TV. I don't want to do it. I'm tired of it.
Yeah, there's too many other games. So it's SEC Network Plus if it's played. All right, just got another text here before we move on. It's from Chris. It said we need to win and play this week. Not many more guaranteed wins on our schedule. We need those extra bowl practices. Mm-hmm. Well, here's the thing. We do need to get to a bowl to practice, but we're going to have a different quarterback next year.
I don't know, Shane. I'm not 100% on that. I'm not feeling it that way. I'm
99.9%.
Really? Because I can tell you, if they put the right sweetheart NIL deal and Anthony wants to come back and play and get better, why wouldn't he stay in his hometown another year and take $2 million and wait and get an insurance policy and could be a first-round draft choice the next year?
He's going to be a first-round draft pick, and you can go ahead and start working on a lot of stuff.
It's probable, but I'm not feeling
level.
I'm just holding out that little bit of hope. I think that we'll see. Maybe you're right. I don't just feel it. Can I just say one thing about a stat that I want to say? We talked about this. I am so glad to see them spread the ball around. Have you looked at these? How many different people caught balls? Yeah, and Shorter had 7 catches. 7, all right? And frankly, what have I been saying the whole time? Trent Whittemore could sit down in the zone. What did he do? And that's an effective weapon. They found Zipper. I mean, he made one of the top plays of the game. That run he made was a statement. To me, that set the tone right there. So we got Shorter, Pearsall, Henderson, Zipper, Whittemore, Xanders, and this guy's name I can't pronounce. How do you pronounce that name? You say it.
You talking about Ty Bowman? Just call him Ty Bowman.
Is that what I got to call him? Because I can't say Chia, whatever that is.
Yeah, just call him Ty.
All right, call him Ty. I'll call him Ty. And so that number, and the big number that stood out was 594 yards, Shane, versus 576, Hendon Hooker. That's because he kept the ball away from him. The one stat that bothered me was the 10 penalties. I get the crowd noise and all that.
We didn't have any. Those penalties weren't on the offense.
Well, there were a couple, but anyway,
not many. I thought the offense was outstanding.
No, I think you did well, but I mean, part of the crowd noise is a factor. Regardless,
that damn place was so loud. That's the loudest place I ever been.
Really, the loudest. Really.
Oh. But it's 110,000 people, or however many, and I forgot how big that damn arena is. Boy, good gracious!
I've been in it a bunch of times. I wouldn't put it in the top 3. I would say Auburn in certain games is even. They got penalized.
But see, our stadium in Auburn's is kind of like it's open. This thing is like hovering.
I know. I've been in it many times. Many times. Of course,
I thought it was extremely loud.
Well, you would know. You were there. You were there.
So I thought we handled it very, very well.
Yeah. So those numbers stuck out of me. So
Chris says AR will be drafted on potential loan in the first round this year. Yeah, he will.
Oh, he'll be drafted. There's no question. He'll be drafted. I'm holding out hope. He'll say, "Well, I can play in the NFL next year. I'll put $2 million in my pocket. I'll stay here and play another year and get better."
Yeah, but think about it. If he's a first-round draft pick, he's going to get about well over $2 million.
Well, if it's the money, he'll go. But I just got a feeling if he had, it depends on how he plays the rest of the year. I'm not giving that up yet. I'm holding out hope he might come back for 1 year, and with an insurance policy, which you'll get a nice one. We'll see. I'm not saying it's a good business decision. I'm just feeling it. That's how I feel about it.
All right. We're going to have to disagree on that one, buddy. Yeah, what else jumped out at you at the game, buddy? Anything?
Mostly just the defense needing help, and to have it break down that bad was astonishing. I mean, I just couldn't believe the defense that well coached. Because let's be honest about it, Patrick Tony's specialty is safeties. The safety play was not good. And so the back end didn't play well. I understand why. You got a quarterback who can beat you with his feet. And then the tackling a couple of times, they have him Hooker pinned back there for a loss, have him go 40 yards on you. That hurt. That missed tackle. But overall, I'd say it's a good performance. I think if you're buying stock in the Gators, regardless of the record, by the way, again, what's the new thing they say now about it's not always the final result that you want, but as long as you play the right way and you have the right game plan and you invest yourself emotionally, in some ways the final score doesn't matter as much. Now that's not the definition of moral victory. I don't know what it is, but that's what the new thinking is. Just play the best you can, give it your best, do the right way, be well coached, whatever, and the end result may not be what you wanted to, but don't be discouraged. That's what I took away from that game.
Carrie Petty says, Doug, I almost said Katy Perry.
Yeah.
Doug Peterson.
By the way, Katy Perry Katy Perry did a great job at the quarterback club this past week here in Ocala.
Katy Perry?
No. Cat, no, the recruiting woman.
No, Katy Perry's like a pop singer.
No, I know who she is. Turner, I'm talking about. I thought you said Turner.
Oh, no, but this lady's name is Carrie Petty, which if you kind of look at it real quick, you look at Katy Perry. She says Doug Peterson, the analytics coach as well. Yeah. He knows what he's doing.
Well, how do you feel about it, Shane? What do you think of the analytic coaching? Do you like it?
Oh, I don't. I love being aggressive. It's crazy. People, and I'm sure you get it, buddy. I mean, I can't tell you on Sunday afternoon and yesterday, all these people bitching, complaining about this 2-point conversion or that. I'm like, look, sit back and you got to look at the big picture. Did you have a problem when Billy Napier went for it? Was it 4th and 4 from our own 22 or whatever it was?
Yeah, I did, but I didn't like that call.
But that's nobody bitches about that because we threw it and we completed.
Right.
Okay. But you have to understand that if you have any common sense and you're watching this football game and you've watched tape, you know you have no chance of forcing a punt in this game.
I get it.
And we didn't.
I get it. You can't stop Hendon Hooker. You can't stop him. Don't give him the ball back. That's why time of possession was important this time around. It really was.
I think Hendon Hooker and I would probably, if I was a Heisman voter, he would be at the top of my list right now. It was Stetson Bennett, but Stetson had not a horrible game, but not a great game. But
how about Brock Bauer? Nobody talks about Brock Bauer.
Yeah, I put him on there
player in the country. Will Anderson, everybody loves him, but Brock Bauer has been amazing. And of course, it's hard to go back and win it again back-to-back years. We'll see how that works out. But yeah, so I want to say one thing that the decision to run the ball out were some bad, and Billy addressed it yesterday. They got to stop returning the ball out to the 15-yard line on kickoffs.
Oh, yeah, they just need to
take the 25 yards. Yeah, I mean, really. I mean, that's simple. That's not hard to figure out, is it? Go back. I didn't count the times, but somebody like Dan or somebody will figure it out. They probably lost a combined 45, 50 yards overall by trying to run the ball out. Stop trying to run the ball out when the numbers don't speak to that. Take the fair catch, take it at the 25-yard line, in my opinion.
No, I agree 100% with that. I've only seen one, in all the college football that I've watched this year, I've only seen one kick return that went to the 40-yard line, and that was the other day. Tennessee ran one back to the 40, and it looked like he was going to take it to the house, but he still only got to the 40. So anyway, David says, of the QBs we face, what is the order of NFL possibilities? Oh, there's only one, Will Levis. Cam Rising, he's still got another year. He could be an NFL guy. Hendon Hooker's not an NFL guy. He's a really good college quarterback, but he's not NFL. But Will Levis will be drafted in the first round.
All right,
and he didn't play great against us. He's playing better as late. Kentucky is leaning heavy on the pass game now. They can't block anybody. I told you their offensive line is so bad. It ain't getting any better.
You're right. Hey, let me just share a little joy here. How about the Miami Hurricanes? The only ranked team to ever lose to Middle Tennessee State was the Miami Hurricanes. How about that for a stat, right?
Yeah, it was it'll be interesting to see about these guys that are getting paid, that are supposedly going to be getting paid to go there. I don't know. They got problems. I didn't realize they benched a quarterback. The quarterback has talked about it. It's terrible playing at home because nobody shows up.
He's right about that.
They got some problems down there.
They do. Hey, Shane, could you use a little bit of humor right now? Hurricane humor?
Sure.
This is a tweet last night. Breaking news. I don't mean to make light of the hurricane. I pray that everybody's going to be safe and we're going to get through this. Ian. But this is funny. Sometimes you have to laugh. Breaking. With Hurricane Ian looming offshore, state officials in Florida and FEMA have reached out to Scott Frost, Jeff Collins, and Dan Mullen on how to evacuate tens of thousands of people in less than an hour.
Yeah, that's great.
Hey, what's with Mullen and Georgia Tech?
I don't know. Georgia Tech's hard to win at.
Somebody told me it was a done deal. I don't know. He lives in Georgia, as you know.
Yeah, he lives in Reynolds Plantation, which is 30 minutes from Atlanta.
Well, you would know, yeah.
Let me ask you this: do you know, buddy? Because I do not. I do not understand the ACC. What side is Georgia Tech on?
I don't know. I can't keep up with those divisions. I don't even know anymore. I'm not on. It's probably the easy side. It's not the FSU Clemson side, is it? I don't think. I don't know. I have to look that stuff up. I'm not good at this, but I mean, last night as I went to bed late watching the Cone of Uncertainty, there was a lot of talk about Mullen taking the deal. Now, I have not confirmed that. Edgar might know when you talk to him, but what would you think of that move for Dan?
I think it'd be a good fit for him because you ain't got any pressure there. And anything is better than what they've had. I mean, I like Jeff Collins as defense coordinator, but boy, were they bad on offense at Georgia Tech. But
that's what happens, Shane. When you hire a defensive coordinator as your head coach, this is what happens.
No. Oh, what happened is he went with a guy named Jeff Sims, who's out of Jacksonville, as his quarterback, as a true freshman. He's been there the last 2 or 3 years, and he can't hit the broadside of a barn. Can he run around and look good in shorts? Yes. But in live action, he can't play. I mean,
I take your word for it. But the one dimension aspect of a coach, you can't have a guy who Mullen's problem was he just cared about the offense, and that's it. Todd Grantham, and Muschamp's problem was he couldn't get an offense going except for 1 year. So when you're a defensive coordinator, you're the head coach. You got to keep in mind. That's what I like about Billy. I think Billy's mostly offensive, but he has a feel for the defense. I don't know. You'd have to convince me to hire a defensive coordinator as head coach, although that's what Ray Graves was in Georgia Tech, defensive coordinator.
So. Before we let you go, we had a couple of texts here on the Titan Lamar text line. Says, do you think we keep playing Naquan because of his leadership ability? It looked like he was helping AR quite a bit on relaying the play of the lineman. He did a phenomenal job, by the way, telling people what to do during that game. I even brought it up on the broadcast. I don't know if I've ever seen a running back do what Naquan was doing during the game. And he's a good player. He's not probably as good as the other two, but in those situations, from a protection scheme standpoint and letting everybody know what to do. Complete player. He had to play. He's probably, and he is the smartest player from a football standpoint on the offensive team.
Let me just say, we've done the whole half of the show and not mention number 51. Ventrell Miller had a phenomenal game, courageous game, hurt. I got to say, it's one of the greatest performances by a defensive player I have ever seen.
I agree 100%. The one play he made where, I don't know what he re-injured, but where he tracked down, I think it was the running back or somebody on a long run on the Tennessee sideline.
On the side, got hurt.
He came from nowhere. It was unbelievable. So Andy says Georgia Tech is on the same side. It's in the Coastal Division with Virginia Tech, Duke, North Carolina, Pitt, Miami, and Virginia.
Okay. See,
Clemson doesn't have FSU, doesn't have Louisville.
Right.
That's the side to be on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's like being on the right side of the cone of uncertainty when the hurricane comes. So you be safe up there, my man. All right. And don't forget, now tonight you're on with me. We switched up. And you're on with me tonight. Now I'm going to say one thing real quick. I want to say Titan MRI, thank you, because they're going to sponsor your segment on my show starting in October.
Sweet.
Titan MRI. So we'll talk about
Joe.
that. Yeah,
Joe
good
gets
job.
stuff done. He
Looking
does an
forward
outstanding
to it.
job.
He does.
Outstanding job.
Appreciate it. Shane, you have a good one. Talk to you
All right, buddy.
tonight. Thank you.
Yes, sir. That's Buddy Martin joins us on the Titan MR Hotline. Going to take a timeout, come back, be joined by Edgar Thompson of the Orlando Sentinel. You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the morning.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogra State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wiebe Realtor Caldwell Banker MM Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Ruse Ogra State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your insurance.com. Give them a call, 352-240-1779. We're now going to head to the Titan MR Hotline, and we're joined by Edgar Thompson from the Orlando Sentinel. Good morning, Edgar. How are you?
Hey, Shane. Doing okay. Was just looking at the weather I was telling you. Weather.com doesn't take us past.
Question for you, Edgar, before we jump.
Yeah, go ahead.
My internet messed up there, I guess. I didn't hear you talking. My homework assignment for you, because you love to write stories and do all that stuff, because that's what you have. Sheet with the when you should go for two back in the day. Although I never had to look at the sheet, you just do math and figure it out. But when it's because somebody showed me on their phone on the heading from the stadium back to the plane that it showed the probability about when Billy went, how with the new analytics, how it increased your chances of winning the game. There's got to be some new formula to that. I think it would be interesting because not only Billy's analytical, but we know Todd Golden is big time into that. I think that'd be a good story for you to write.
Yeah, I did a story on Todd with the analytics on Trey Bonham and how because a lot of people are like, why is he signing some barely 6-foot point guard from Virginia Military Institute? And then he took me to this one website. It's called Brett Torvik, Torvik for basketball fans listening. Go dig in on that. It's like a Ken Palm thing, but it's really interesting, the numbers. And he found certain numbers that were highlighting how excellent this young man is at certain aspects that you just don't see often. So that's why they targeted him. But the Billy thing, look, Billy, it's funny because when I did those stories going back to his hometown, he was a very good student, which isn't surprising, but he was really good at math, apparently. In fact, one of his former middle school coaches was a big chess player and said he taught Billy how to play chess and that he took to it really quickly. He really liked it and was good at it. So he's pretty sharp, man. I mean, I think we can see that when he speaks, how he organizes his thoughts and stays on point, articulates things. But he explained it yesterday. He's like, look, you're going to have to go for two at some point. We're just going to declare early. This is our path to victory. And if we don't get it this time, you try to get it the next time. And then it gives you a chance to win with the field goal on the road as a 10-point underdog, where he said the odds are 63% that the home team's going to win as a 2-score favorite with the home field event, the home team with a 10-point. You're following what I'm saying. So
Yes.
That's how he figured it out. And they went for it, to the consternation and outrage of a lot of fans. I mean, I had people and I was wondering myself, the one question I had on Billy the whole day in terms of that stuff, that didn't alarm me as much as I thought they should have kicked the field goal early on. You're 4th and 2, you get points, you're on the road, hostile environment, get on the board.
Yes, I agree and disagree, because I think Billy knew that we had to score a bunch of touchdowns to have a chance. And that's probably what he was thinking.
Sure.
We got a Facebook Live here brought to you by Metal Law from Toby. Says, do you think Napier will add Jeff Collins as a defensive analyst for next season's team like Kirby did with Will Muschamp? No. I mean, it could happen, but Kirby's and Will's relationship, I mean, they're like best friends. And
Well, they were safeties together, weren't they? Weren't they starting safety side by side?
Yeah, they were on the teams together. So, I don't know if Jeff has a relationship, and I think he's a good defensive coach. Somebody will hire him. So we got plenty of analysts.
Well, Saban might, because he worked at Alabama. Jeff
That's right. And Todd Grantham's an analyst there right now. So
yeah, see, this is the thing. I mean, I think maybe the Facebook Live question was based on the fact, Shane, that if Saban's doing all this stuff, constantly grabbing people that are kind of on the scrap heap, so to speak, and turning them to analysts, maybe Billy will start pursuing that course. I don't know. He's got a lot of cooks in the kitchen over there already, though.
He does, and I'd rather add ball players than analysts right now. Let's get ball players and then bring our analysts later on. Brian says, Shane, what do you think of the rule that the kicking team can't advance the ball on onside kick, but the receiving can't? I've never understood that in football. I've never understood why you can't advance a muff punt. Makes no sense to me.
By the way, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say it was a hell of a play by DeJuan Black.
Well, that play alone makes me wonder why you can't find a play. Is that kid? There are enough. I hate to say it this way. It's a little harsh. Clueless defensive players on that field right now.
Yeah.
Is that kid does he not know what he's doing that much that you can't get an athlete like that on the field? And he was playing in the spring really well. We would show up for those brief 15-minute windows, Shane, and DeJuan Black was making a play almost every day. Some sort of an interception or something. I just don't know why he's not playing.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I was going to ask Billy about him yesterday and also Trey Dean, but I was under the weather really badly, and I didn't even go to the press conference. And I was sick as a dog. So I was going to ask him. I'm going to ask him tomorrow night if we do have a press conference or this hurricane preempts it. We're not sure yet.
This is from Alan in Atlanta. Said, can everybody stop the might not have a game talk this week? Geez, the weather will be long gone by Saturday. We might need the wind to get a ball. It's not about what the weather is going to be like on Saturday. It's all the personnel, from the EMS people to the sheriffs to the cops, that all come to Gainesville every weekend. They're going to be dealing with hurricane issues around the state. That's the biggest issue. Am I correct there, Edgar?
Bigger, Shane, is you can't ask a traveling party from what's the place? I can't. It's
Spokane, Washington.
Well, but it's not Spokane. It's Chennai or somewhere. Wherever it is, it's 2,700-mile trip across country. Hey, come on over. Hopefully you missed the hurricane. It's like they got to come on Thursday. You got to think.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know what's going to happen.
Such a long trip. That's the problem.
Maybe I've heard maybe Sunday, but we'll see. Dan asked a really good question here on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law. Do you think there will be a big transfer signing push to go along with the high school kids next year? I say absolutely. We're going to look in that portal, and if there's anybody that can help us anywhere on the football team, they will go after, in my opinion. What do you think, Edgar?
Oh, I mean, he's got to just accrue players, depth. Whether it's even like a starter, like it's impactful guy, they just need depth, man. I mean, and they do need impactful guys. Don't get me wrong, but there's not enough bodies in certain spots, man.
No.
Look, again, I hate to like hammer certain players, but if you can't find someone to play in front of Trey Dean now after all this time. Now, I tried to explain to someone, they're like, how come this guy's still playing? I said, well, first off, Marco Wilson blows his knee out second week of 2018. Trey Dean moves into cornerback, and he had he had some plays that year, but he got burned a bunch too at times. And you'd be like, I mean, he's a first-year freshman. He's going to get better. Next year, they try to replace Chauncey Gardner-Johnson with him in that star position. He didn't take to it. He didn't play it well. And he didn't really even play as much that year. But so you were kind of like, yeah, he didn't fit there. So they move him to safety, right? Then it's like, okay, well, he's learning the position again. And then it's like last year, we're going to ride with him. And you know what I'm saying? It's never been like he's been at one spot. He's always moving. So you're always like, he's going to finally kind of get it. The light's going to come on. And then why he came back, I have no idea. And I mean, I know why he did, but I don't know why they wanted him back. But if they were watching the film, but then they bring him back and they're like, hey, he's a veteran guy, does things the right way. I mean, bro, he just let a guy run just clear twice the other day.
Yes, he did. Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville, North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. Speaking with Edgar Thompson here on the Titan Tomorrow Hotline. All right, Edgar, let's talk about Anthony. Anthony played extremely well, threw a bunch of completions. I was thinking about this. I spoke about it yesterday on Steve Russell's show. I was thinking on the plane ride back, his best games were, as of now, it's almost like games we weren't expected to win, okay? I mean, some people thought we might beat Utah, but most people thought we wouldn't. Anthony plays real well. Plays real well because we were a big underdog at Tennessee. And then he played well against LSU when we were behind where he could just let it all hang out. And struggled against Kentucky and USF because people thought we were supposed to win those. So I'm just curious. I mean, I'm not saying there's something to that, but I wonder if he feels more pressure being a young player against the teams that we're supposed to beat. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's an interesting theory. I think the Kentucky game, great linebackers and a very good defensive coach schemed them very well. Yeah. That's what I think that day. And it just surprised him what he was seeing. He didn't know what to make of like what he was looking at. And then the fact that he wasn't able just to kind of freelance and take off because he was being spied by some really talented guys. I mean, those Kentucky linebackers are good players. And they have 4 of them. So that's what I think happened there. I don't know the USF deal. Don't know why he was so lackluster that day. And they were focused on running the football more, as Billy pointed out, but still. I wrote a story on Friday, Shane, where I went back and talked to Sed Daniels and also talked to Derek Jackson, who's kind of his NIL agent. And he and Sed played together at Gainesville High, in fact, with Clinton Portis in that crowd back 20 years ago at least. And so they're longtime friends. And they just talked about, like, man, we're just trying to get his confidence back. Just go have fun, man. Just play ball. Just go out there and just play and have a good time. I'm not saying that's what did it, but he sure looked like he was just out there just playing ball, man. Just making plays, taking off when he needed to. I don't know, made some not great throws. They attacked more downfield than they had been.
Yeah, I knew we were going downfield a lot. We were going to take a bunch of shots because I talked to some people before the game at the hotel that they thought Tennessee's secondary was really bad. And we took advantage of that, which was good. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. When you see stuff on tape where teams ain't very good, you expose them. Kind of happens to us on defense, right?
Yeah, too often. I was going to say, so is that oversimplifying, though, just to say Confidence. I mean, confidence is so critical in anything. He gets on a little bit of a roll. Things start out pretty decent. The first drive, see, this is why I wanted them to kick the field goal. Because it's like you had a nice drive, including a fourth down conversion. Just get some points out of it. Now, they didn't hang their heads because they didn't get any of the Gators, and they kept going. But you know, that could have taken the wind out of their sails a little bit, just coming away with nothing on the mid drive. That was all. But I thought Anthony, was great. I mean, the fumble wasn't good. There was
the fumble. That's his worst play of the game. Not because he fumbled, because he didn't do what the play was designed to do.
Okay.
If you go back and watch it, we ran quarterback sweep where we pull the center and the right tackle, and we have a convoy out there. He scored on the same play earlier in the game. If he does the same thing, he still scored. He's still running. He's in Memphis by now. I mean, there was nobody there, but for whatever reason, he took the snap and he went up in the B gap. I don't know what he was thinking, but that was his worst play of the game. Andy's got a question for you here, Edgar. He says, "Is Gervon Dexter being double teamed? What do you think of his performance? His name's not called very often."
He was getting doubled a ton the other day. I tell you, my Des Watson infatuation has been curtailed a little bit after the other day. I like Des, but he kind of stood out like kind of a sore thumb the other day because now he's starting. It's not like he's just going in here and there. He wasn't very effective, and they really just absolutely suffocated Gervon the other day, or Gervon. So yeah, I don't know. I'll tell you this: Ventrell Miller's return. I mean, that kid wasn't even 100%. Man, he's a game.
He's a player. He's clearly our best defensive player. Gervon, he's getting double teamed, but he's still, to be as big and athletic as people say he is, he's still got to make plays. I mean, there's no other way around it.
That's inevitable at that quality of a player. And, you know, I mean, they don't have other guys that are going to draw flies like that. He knows he's going to double. He's got to learn. I think you and I were talking about this off season, weren't we? You said he's pretty good against single blocking, but double teams he doesn't handle well. I think you said that a long time ago, in fact.
Yeah. We had a text on the Titan Amar text line. Doesn't say who this is from. Says, "Don't get upset about fans' comments. With social media, everyone can be sport analyst. Plus, have mean negative comments or other fans masquerading as UF fans. I don't get upset about it. I just think it's funny." This gentleman says, "Looks like Black has good hands. Move him to offense. We need help there." No, we need as much help on defense as and I said this going into that game. I said, you know, everybody was worried about our offense. I was like, look, I don't care if we don't make a first down. We got to figure out how to play defense. And at this point, after 4 games, we are who we are. The defense is what it is. It's exactly what I thought it was watching practices all summer. Not very good, especially the front 7. I do think Ventrell is a tremendous player. I like our corners, but safety plays an issue too. But I do like our corners and Ventrell Miller. Other than that, everybody is just average, in my opinion.
Why didn't Jalen Kimber play more?
He played some.
Played 11 snaps.
Is that all? I don't know.
I don't know what was going on there. That was a little weird. Trevez Johnson's struggling more than I thought too. I don't know, man. They got some issues on defense for sure. And I don't know where the answers are. I mean, do you play Kamari Wilson? I mean, do you just roll with him and just start working? Look, you're 2-2 right now, the Gators. So tell me big picture. What do you try to make out of the season right now? You're out of the SEC race. I mean, it's not about getting to the Outback versus the Gator Bowl or whatever. You gotta build this thing. Billy's got to take the long view.
Yeah, I don't know, because it's tough, because in the NFL, I was on plenty of teams where you knew you weren't going to make the playoffs and you had drafted the quarterback in the first round and it's time for him to get some reps. The veterans hated that, but they understood the business. You know, it's at the point now where, you know, in college, do you sacrifice the rest of the season to get younger players playing time to get ready for next year? Which I agree. I think you need to. But it's almost like, not saying we have anybody else to put in there, but let's just use the quarterback, our quarterback. I personally don't think he'll be here next year because he's going to be a first-round draft pick. But do you keep playing? Obviously, you do, because you have nobody else. We don't know who else we have coming in. I think we'll go to the transfer portal or whatever. But you see what I'm saying a little bit?
I do.
Ventrell is a guy who can play on Sundays, maybe as a backup. I don't know, maybe as a starting backer. But he wants to win. He wants to play. I mean, do you put these younger players around him and sacrifice losing game? I mean, not saying we're going to win games, but it's tough at the collegiate level to do that, I think.
No, it is. And these kids are seniors and they want to enjoy their senior year and all that. I totally get it, man. It's easy for me to say, and I hate hammering on 21-year-old guys. I do, and singling out guys. It's different. I mean, I covered the NFL for several years. It's different, man. Those guys are getting paid. You want to, criticize a first or second round pick who's not panning out, or a free agent guy. Like I covered Ernest Wolford. You remember that guy, the Jacksonville receiver?
Yeah.
Dolphins made a big play for him. I mean, and it was like the guy was just brutal. He wasn't. There were some other guys that they did stuff with. You can criticize a bad free agent signing. Criticizing a kid who's a fifth-year senior that I did earlier, I mean, it's a little harsh.
No, it is. I'm the same way. You have to kind of say what you see, but they're collegiate athletes. Whether they're getting paid or not, I still don't believe in bashing them. Frank has a text here on the Titan and More text line. Did AR have so much success because Tennessee was running man? Will he have less success against a team that runs zone? They played a lot of one high, whether it was cover one man or like a deep, soft cover three. We did a good job getting into the open areas and crossing routes. If I was playing against him, I would play a ton of zone with a two high shell. You don't give up big plays. You keep everything in front of you, and you make him read stuff. I was surprised at how Tennessee played us defensively, but I think Tennessee was so worried about our rushing attack that they wanted to play one high where they could have that extra safety kind of not actually lined up in the box, but near the box to help with the run game. We didn't run it great, statistically, because they wanted to take that away, and they said, you know what, Anthony, you're going to have to beat us. There's different ways to do that, and they chose one high, and we hit a bunch of big plays, and he had a great game. And
Justin Shorter took advantage too. I'd like to see more of that.
I agree.
He has some ability, and he works really hard at it. So hopefully for him, that's a trend, because he might have just capitalized on that coverage, but he looked. That's really the first game where I've been like, okay, that's the guy that we were thinking the Gators were getting.
Yeah. All right. Last text here before we let you go. It says Miller is listed at 6'1", 220, a little undersized and too many injuries to have a pro career. Great college linebacker, though. You never know. I mean, he has been injured a lot, and they'll go through all that when he goes to the combine and all that. But he could be a special teams type guy and a backup, and seems like a great teammate. And a lot of coaches want those dudes on their roster for sure.
Special teams, you can play in the NFL for several years, and several years in the NFL at 650 or 700 plus, still pretty good living.
Yeah. All right, Edgar. Writing any good stories that our people can check on?
This is good. We're going to keep it a little light this week, even if this hurricane doesn't preempt the game. Just because we're trying to look ahead. I got some other stories in the cooker and some other sports. In fact, we're going to go to Todd Gold. We got Todd Golden at noon here.
Basketball starts today.
Yeah, and practice is open at 1:30, so we got to go watch that team, which is new. Billy would rarely open a practice, and Mike White didn't either. But Todd's got a bunch open. So he's looking out for us, man. I'm looking forward to seeing Alex Fudge as the guy I hear has really been spectacular.
And I heard Chris Harry was telling us that majority of their all-season practices, or whatever they call them in basketball, they're doing mostly everything in the O'Connell Center. Or is it practice today in the O'Connell Center, or is it in the facility?
I'm glad you told me, mention that, because I didn't look.
Well, you may want to check, because his whole theory, which I agree with, is we play our games in this arena. Maybe we should practice it. Maybe I've always said that shooting is an issue. Now, we won national championships practicing in the facility and then playing in the O'Connell Center, but recently we've had trouble shooting. So maybe Todd Golden will practice more in there. I don't know, but maybe you want to check that, Edgar. Hate for you to miss practice today.
Yeah. Campus isn't that big. I could figure it out, but still.
That's true. All right, Edgar, appreciate it. Let everybody know how they can follow you on Twitter.
OS Gators. Appreciate anybody who follows my work. The fans, man, I tell you, sometimes they're unhinged, man, but without them. I ran into a fan the other day, and she was going on and on about something. And I was like, I tell you, you were into it. She goes, I'm one of those. And I said, hey, without you guys, I don't have a job.
That's right.
So I appreciate the fans.
Yeah, appreciate you, my man. We'll talk to you next week. Take care.
All right, guys.
That's Edgar Thompson joining us on the Titan MR Hotline. Hope you enjoyed today's program. And be safe out there, folks. All our folks down in the Tampa area and pretty much the entire state of Florida. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.
All right, guys. Thanks,
Edgar. Appreciate it, buddy.
Guys.